Excellent. Thank you, Sabrina. So I'm Morgan Crowley. I'm one of the co-directors of Ladies of Landsat. Ladies of Landsat, we aim to make the field of remote sensing more equitable and inclusive for underrepresented scientists. What you see here is actually a LiDAR image that's been put together from one of our meetups pre-pandemic, taken of a bunch of women in the room at ForestSat 2018. So today I'm just going to go through some of our history and some of our current efforts of what we've been up to primarily since we couldn't meet as often in person, and where you can get some more information. So there we go. Okay, so we began by Kate Fickus, the wonderful Dr. Kate Fickus, when she was in her PhD at Oregon State University. She was in a really male-dominated environment, as a lot of remote sensing can be across the world, and especially in North America. She is in kind of the forestry realm, which is even more male-dominated at the time. And so Kate, had this kind of desire to connect with other women. She would be going to Landsat science team meetings, connecting with women, not necessarily seeing women at all levels of the organizational structure, and hoping to have someone to look up to have advice going through her program and to know where she could end up. At ForestSat in 2016, it was the first time that she really got to connect with other women remote sensing scientists doing forestry, and they were all very nervous to give this presentation in this primarily male-dominated conference. And so one of the other folks said to her, "You are strong, you're special, and we believe in you." And then she felt really empowered just from talking to these other women to give a really good presentation, and that kind of catapulted what we know as today as Ladies of Landsat. After launching the Twitter series, so she came back from ForestSat 2016 and launched the Ladies of Landsat Twitter account. And that's how I kind of heard about it at that time. I just started my PhD. I was the only woman in my lab, and it was like, oh wow, there are other women in the field, not just the folks early on, not just one person here, one person there. There are other grad students like me. And we connected at the Earth Engine User Summit in 2018. And this is, Sabrina's in this picture. There's a couple of familiar faces, and it was really empowering. And that's what drove me to kind of become connected to the organization then. So I came back and have continued to work with Kate and others with Ladies of Landsat since about 2018. Currently, our organizers consist of Kate and I as co-directors. We have Megan Halabisky, Dr. Flavia Mendez, and Dr. Krista Straub, all as folks who are kind of our lead organizers, helping kind of decide where we're going with our exciting efforts right now. And then we also have a lot of friends and active allies, both present, past and present, including Yasmin Mura, Michelle Stuhlmacher, Agnes Faulkner, Nikki Tully, Andrea Nicolau, Maureen Duane, and many more who have helped us along the way. So pre-pandemic, and we're starting to get back into it a bit more, we mainly consisted of in-person meetups at conferences and workshops, such as you see across the bottom, there's the Earth Engine User Summit in 2018, the Geo for Good 2019 with Sabrina. We organized a networking event together, and there's the Landsat Science Team meeting in 2020, ForestSat 2018, and then across the top, most recently, we were really honored to take part in the Landsat 9 launch activities. And one of our main events that we led, that Kate interviewed Virginia Norwood, who's one of the mother of Landsat, I should say. And it was a really wonderful opportunity to connect Landsat's legacy, both past, present, and also to consider the future. So now that we're getting back into kind of events, we are starting to do more interviews in person, meetups at conferences, and yeah. But since 2019, we've also had some ongoing virtual efforts as well. One of the things that we started was the Ladies of Landsat Manuscript Monday series. And we started this because we had read this article about, there's a great divide in terms of citations of male and female-led research. But one thing that also came out is that research that gets more attention on Twitter actually can increase citations. And so we started this weekly highlighting of women-led research for remote sensing, cutting edge remote sensing work. And we've highlighted over 100 papers and women so far. You can find it all on our GitHub page, where we have kind of this database of papers from the past. It's been particularly useful for folks designing syllabi who want to increase representation on their in the papers that they're citing and sharing with their students. And also, I find it particularly useful to keep me up to date in terms of what cutting edge research is being developed every week. And this is kind of a sensor agnostic sort of series, any women-led research. We've also, in the last year since the start of pandemic, we've been working with Krista Straub of the USGS Human Dimensions team to compile these Landsat user case studies into graphical recordings. So we have 4 so far, and we have some more that we're actually working on behind the scenes right now. Our first was the Ladies of Landsat overview, and it gives a bit of a history of Ladies of Landsat. And then our 3 user case studies with Nikki Tooley, Africa Flores Anderson, and Jill Dynas. And it gives a really nice background of who's using the data and how are they using it, and kind of what motivated them to enter the realm of remote sensing and Earth observation. For the Landsat 9 launch, we also compiled these Earth observation scientist trading cards. And we had over 75 scientists and active allies from 6 continents who contributed their trading cards. And Kate actually physically brought these into the events at the Landsat 9 launch activities. And it was a really wonderful way to get folks introduced to research that they might not have heard of otherwise, and scientists they might not have heard of otherwise, because, you know, of course, not everyone can go to these events. Like, even myself, I was not able to go to this event because of COVID and childcare and, you know, everything that we're facing as women in the field. And so it was a wonderful way to bring more women, more representation, and more folks from around the globe into the actual Landsat 9 launch activities. And you can find these cards online on this link right here, but also we're still accepting submissions because we want to continue to do this at events that we go to, at Landsat Science team meetings, at future meetups as well. We've also worked with these since COVID, to have kind of this virtual networking event, kind of started from the Geo for Good last year. And so the GeoMixer virtual networking event we've had themed and also monthly get-togethers for geospatial and Earth observation enthusiasts. It's a collaborative effort, and we've done it in the past with Sisters of SAR, with the ISPRS Student Consortium, IEEE GRSS IDEA, the Asian Association on Remote Sensing, and ASPRS Student Advisory Committee. And so we actually have one literally right after this event. So I will, at the end of this event, I can put the Zoom link in. So you're welcome to join us. It's a nice way to just kind of connect with others interested in the same things in a kind of more personal environment rather than maybe a giant networking event or yeah. And one of the things that we've done in the past is ask, what does Ladies of Landsat mean to you? And just to kind of give you a swath of kind of responses, it's been really a supportive community. It's kind, you know, with a remote sensing focus that we celebrate each other. And it's been a powerful, for myself in my journey on my PhD, being a Lady of Landsat has really defined my confidence and encouraged me to connect and network with others in the field to make a difference. So this is from the 2019 ISPRS, or 2018 actually, ISPRS Student Consortium newsletter on women in remote sensing, and I encourage you to check it out. Oops, and there we go. And you can learn more about us in some of our more recent blog posts. We've done one with Women in Wood, which is an amazing organization as well. AgriLinks, we just wrote one for celebrating the International Day of the Girl. And there's a keyword post that I wrote a couple of years ago now, also about Ladies of Landsat. You can connect with us. As Sabrina said, we're on Twitter. We're also very recently on LinkedIn, thanks to Flavia. And also we have an email that we do check. So please feel free to reach out. We're constantly expanding what we're doing and excited to work with other groups and folks interested in the same things as us. So thank you.
Thank you, Morgan. This is awesome. So I'm gonna turn the
Sabrina.
floor over now to Gopika, and then we will go and have another presentation and then some questions at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Morgan. I apologize for any extra sound you're going to hear. My little boy is sitting right here. And yeah, so he's watching and learning everything with us. Hi, everyone. I hope you're all having a good day, afternoon, evening, in whichever part of the world you're in. My name is Gopika. I am one of the organizers of the Sisters of Sa initiative, which was inspired by the Ladies of Landsat. And I'll tell you more about our journey and our story and about what we do by actually going to our recently launched website. The first thing I'll do is I'll put the link of the website in the chat in case you all want to go and check it out on the side, and then I'll share my screen. Would you like to say something? So the link is coming up in the chat first. And now let me just go ahead and share my screen. Can you all see my screen? Yes. Let me minimize this so you see the screen. All right, so we are the Sisters of Sa. So we are women in Sa who are amplifying the voices of women in our field. Our main mission is, of course, to promote and to increase visibility and showcase women in our field. But along the way, we also want to spread news about SAR, synthetic aperture radar, spread news about the vacancies, and show that images or SAR images are not just these fuzzy grayscale images, but they're actually also really pretty. And so we have a whole weekly schedule that is organized and that is constructed by the team of organizers, of which I am one. So we are 3 in total. There's Dr. Laura Dingle-Robertson, who is a physical scientist at Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada. There is Sarah Banks, who's a physical scientist at Environment and Climate Change Canada. And then there's me. I'm a research scientist at the Federal Agency for Cartography and Geodesy in Germany. I am Indian born of German nationality, and I've been working in this country of Germany for the last 11 years. And it was only last year that I spent 10 months in Singapore doing a postdoc there, and then I returned because of COVID and everything else. So if you'd like to know more about each of us, of each of the organizers, and why we are actually in this journey together and the Sisters of Sa team together, then feel free to go to this to our page and go to the organizers tab. And at the bottom, you'll also find a little bit about our story. So our story, and here I'm going to stop sharing my screen because the story is very interesting. The story actually began with Morgan. So Morgan, feel free to jump in and add tidbits. So what I know is that Laura met Morgan at one of the SAR training sessions in 2019. And they were so inspired by the Ladies of Landsat initiative, and they thought of doing something for SAR. And so I think they went back and forth with Morgan and the whole LOL team, the Ladies of Landsat team, and came up with Sisters of Sa because it has a certain link to Ladies of Landsat. And then Sarah Banks, she actually got the Twitter handle in 2019, but officially Sisters of Sa was launched in 2020 on the 27th of April. And there again, the reason why I'm part of Sisters of Sa is Morgan again, a Ladies of Landsat. Because I had been featured in the LOL Manuscript Monday on the 20th of April, 2020. And because of that, I was really active on Twitter, trying to see how many people have retweeted my tweet. And that's what I saw a retweet from Ladies of Landsat about Sisters of Sa and how they were looking for people to join the organization. And I volunteered the next day. So I've been part of the Sisters of Sa initiative from the beginning minus one day. And because I was in Singapore and because the other 2 organizers were in Canada, we had this whole 24-hour global feed where sometimes, I would tweet at midnight Singapore and it would still be the same day. So it was really nice to have this 24-hour coverage because now that I'm in Germany, we don't have this. We lose out on a lot of the audience that are in the East. But we still go on with a very tight weekly schedule that is very strict, and we plan it way in advance. I'm going to share my screen again and show you about what we do every week. So if you go to the Home tab and you scroll down, you'll see our latest tweets, and then you'll find, well, that was fast. And then you'll find what we do throughout the week. So on Mondays, like I said, we also want to spread facts about SAR. So we tweet a SAR fact every Monday. On Tuesday, we tweet about all the training material that are available, or we point to conferences and to webinars that might be in the near future. On Wednesdays, which is Diversity Day, we give a shout out to another diversity, equity, and inclusivity representation initiative on Twitter. On Thursdays, we tweet or retweet SAR images with the hashtag SAR is beautiful. And on Fridays, we feature a woman in SAR and we showcase the work that she's doing, where she is, etc. And we do this by, of course, contacting this particular woman a couple of weeks in advance, getting her approval to be featured. Until date, nobody has said no. And then we get information from her about her research focus, where she is, what she studied, and then we use this to prepare tweets. So then recently we came up with this website. So if you go to the SASTA tab, you'll find all the women that have been featured on our hashtag SASTA Friday feature. So there are more than 75 women in here. So no longer can people actually use the excuse that they don't know where the women in SAR are. If anybody ever uses this excuse, point them here. This is where the women are and will continue to be featured. You can also go to the SAR resource tab where you'll find all of the SAR resources that have been tweeted in our Training Tuesday feature. This is a good place to start if you're new in synthetic aperture radar remote sensing, but it's also a good place to return to if you have questions or you're changing your application area. Yeah, and if you go to the projects page, you'll find all of the projects that we're involved in. So the GeoMixer, the SAR capacity building webinar. There's a GeoMixer right after this, as Morgan said, and there's the SAR capacity building webinar about the SWOT mission right after that. So it's a really packed day today. There's also a tab about how to become an ally, just simple things that we've written that can help change this field and make this field more representative and more inclusive. Being an immigrant in Germany, having left India at the age of 22 and being here for so many years, being an engineer, so I'm an aerospace engineer, I kind of have faced my little bits of challenges throughout this journey of mine. And I'm motivated to be part of Sisters of SAR because I want to make sure that the next generation of scientists do not face the challenges that I went through, so they can focus just on doing really good science. That's my story so far. I'm a very proud member of the Women in Geospatial Plus as well. You'll find me on the website as well. And I'm really looking forward to hearing more about all of you here, and feel free to ask any questions that you have now. And I'm going to mute myself now because my kid is really loud.
Thank you for the great presentation, Gopika, and I'm really excited to see the new website for Sisters of SAR. It looks really good.
Go and check it out for sure. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it looks great, and I really love the resources that you put up there for people who want to be allies. I think that's absolutely vital. So thank you for sharing that as well. Okay, so I will give a quick introduction to Women in Geospatial, and then we'll open it up for questions. I know a lot of you probably would like to ask some questions. So the Women in Geospatial Plus network started in March 2019, also on Twitter. And since then, we have grown in number and expanded as well to LinkedIn. And we're basically a network that is volunteer run, it's global, and we're trying to encourage and bring more gender equality into the geospatial industry and in academia. So we have members all over the world, and currently we have a steering committee of about 20 women, and we are all, it is free to join. Everyone can come to any of our events for free. We have about 3,000 members, over 91 countries, and we're active on LinkedIn and Twitter as well. And so what we do as a network, we do a variety of things, from highlighting the work of women, creating a safe space for community to share their thoughts, resources, and support each other. We run events, we have a mentoring program, and we also have a speakers database so that event organizers can find people from underrepresented backgrounds, women, non-binary people who are often not given the stage or not given space at events. So we want to make that possible. We have weekly profiles on both Twitter and LinkedIn where we highlight somebody who is working in the geospatial field who is from an underrepresented gender. And so far we have over 50 profiles, and we welcome anyone to sign up to be featured. So it's an open sign up. Anyone who wants to be featured can do so. We also have a Slack community where people can post jobs, resources, events, share tips, ask questions like, oh, I have this job interview, how should I prepare? Or I faced a situation at work today, how should I respond? And people have been really great. People have found project mentors, people have found jobs through the network. And it's really about creating that safe space to connect and communicate with each other. So we welcome any of you to sign up, and here's the sign up link. I will also share the website later on in the Slack, in the Zoom chat. We run monthly webinars on career development. So everything from fighting imposter syndrome to how to become a better writer. We've had public speaking webinars, and they are also open for anyone to join. So that's also another way that we support our members in building skills. And a lot of these speakers, they are doing it also as volunteers. So if you have a topic in mind that you have some expertise in that you'd like to share, yeah, feel free to let us know, and we'd love to also have you as a speaker. So the mentorship program is something that I'm really excited to talk about. Our first mentorship round was in June 2019. That's when this idea got started. And since then, it has now grown to 115 participants from over 30 countries. So we've been grouping people by topics that they're interested in and by time zone so that they can meet with each other. Some of these groups are one-to-one pairs, and others are groups where they can, support each other as peers. So the program runs every year between October to July, and in September we open applications. So if you'd like to be a mentor or you'd like to be a mentee, feel free to sign up. We welcome everyone to participate, especially if you are from an underrepresented gender. Men are welcome to be mentors because we know for a fact that there are certain networks that underrepresented people don't have access to. And so we need some of these allies as well to, be gatekeepers and open the doors to connect people and bring them into these networks that they otherwise don't have access to. So we're really grateful also to all the mentors who have put in the time to share the advice and expertise. And we encourage you as well to consider joining the mentorship program. So as I mentioned, we have a speakers database that has about 320 profiles. And we have heard from people who are in the database that event organizers have written to them or approached them to speak at conferences or panels. So we know that anecdotally it's working to connect people. And I encourage all of you as well to share your profile because that will enable you to also, get a chance to, bring your work and your voice to more platforms out there and show that you're available to speak at events. It's just a really great way to, be a role model and encourage the next generation of leaders that, we can be a diverse industry and space. So we're really excited also to partner with many different networks and other groups out there who are sibling organizations with the same vision and mission. And we have had a number of co-hosted events, meetups. We regularly retweet each other's events. And so I welcome all of you as well to check out the great work that all of these networks are doing. So some takeaways from today, please join us. It's free to join, be a speaker, challenge yourself, be a mentor, share your advice and your expertise. And we really encourage you to, be there for others and become an agent of change. So here are all the links on which that you can get in touch with us. And I will also post the website as well in the chat. So that's a very quick introduction to Women in Geospatial. And now I'm going to stop sharing my screen because we will be going to questions. So once again, please go to slido.com, and the event hashtag is #networks4good. And this will bring you to the question and answer page. So I'm going to switch over there right now and open the floor for questions.